Welcome back, 365 Sports. Kevin Eschenfelder, the voice of the Houston Cougars. Kevin, have you come down off the high of the end of that game yet?
Yeah, I'm down. I'm okay. It was a great ending. We're talking about fantastic finishes. Yeah, that was exciting. It was the range of emotions over about a 90-second span of real time. Forget about game time, but. Yeah, it was pretty amazing because people forget it wasn't just the Hail Mary that was answered. It was the fact that West Virginia scored it on a 50-yard touchdown pass with, a minute 5 left. I don't even 12 seconds left. With 12 seconds left before that, people forget about that to take a lead and just take the absolute air out of that entire building. It went from absolutely one complete end of emotions to the other.
So, just in your, how this works for people watching, when you're doing a game and that happens, I know how the broadcaster mind works. You start thinking like, oh, well, in the post game, this went from happy to sad real quick, So now you're going to have to ask Dana Holgorsen different questions when you get them. You're going to have to a whole different thing. So to have it change so rapidly had to be so wild, just in your own mind of what you're going to do once the game's over.
Yeah, it did. I mean, it was a definite situation, and I've done, I've had that in years of 27 seasons of Major League Baseball and Astros. You get that you're ready for a game to end a certain way, and all of a sudden somebody hits a 3-run home run and it ends a different way. It was a quick mindset. It's always better to have it shift that way because you really think about it. It's really 3 different shifts because you're thinking about, wow, this is going to be a great post-game interview because post-game press conference because you're going to win. Then it goes from, oh my gosh, this is one of the most devastating losses. What do you talk about now? To this is one of the most incredible wins I've ever seen. So because it was really three different swings, and they happened quickly. And I'm glad it ended the way it did, obviously. And it was something it's one of those that you won't forget anytime soon.
How big was this for Houston to start building some momentum?
I don't. It was huge. It was obviously huge because the fact that you haven't won. Hey, let's face it, you haven't won the conference, and you were at home against a team in West Virginia that had come in. You think about the Cougars' 2 conference losses were to TCU and Texas Tech. West Virginia's 2 conference wins were TCU and Texas Tech. So it wasn't going to be easy, and but they played well. It was the first time really all season long against a really top-notch opponent that they had played 2 halves. They played well in the first half. They scored 28 points in the first half of Texas Tech. Problem is they didn't score in the second half. So it's been that kind of season, and finally it's put together 2 halves, 60 minutes of football. That was very gratifying. And you thought, like I said, giving up that 50-yard touchdown with 12 seconds left in the game, you thought, oh my gosh, can you play a whole lot better than you did right now? And then you're going to end up getting beat going from that to the win. So that was certainly it was a big win for the Cougars.
For Donovan Smith in particular, his best game. He was very efficient. I don't know how many times the ball even hit the ground in the second half last night.
He completed his last 16 passes, 16 in a row down the stretch. What I thought was really impressive about Donovan was the fact that he was off. I mean, to start the game, just little swing patterns of running backs coming out of the backfield, check downs. And, he was missing those passes. He was overthrowing guys. He was throwing it behind guys. And I think it says something about an athlete, whether it's, everybody can, you can score 40 when your jumper's falling. But what do you do on the nights when it's not? You right the ship. That's what he did last night because he wasn't good to start the game. He really struggled early on. But, he finished strong, 16 straight completions. And I think it was, 220-something yards or something like that in those last 16 completions.
Is especially given that Texas is next and it'll be rocking for that one sellout. And then Kansas State on the road. Confidence-wise for him to have that game, Dana Holgorsen told us at media days, look, he only saw one weakness in Donovan Smith, and it was a big one that he gives the ball away too much. He didn't do that last night. For that to be in his head going into Texas, knowing that is a daunting task for anyone.
He hasn't done it. Yeah, he hasn't done it all season. Only 3 interceptions really all season long. He's been great at taking care of the football.
Yeah. So they maybe fixed that issue, but next week against Texas, it's a whole different animal, isn't it?
No, 100%. Yes, absolutely. That's there's no doubt about that. Texas is going to come in after an off week, and then of course they're probably not going to be in a great mood after what happened against Oklahoma. It's going to be a very daunting task, as you said, and that's going to be a level of athlete that the Cougars. It's been a long time since they have played against the kind of athletes they'll play against in this game against Texas. But as they say, that's why you play them, and see what happens.
So far, a few games into the Big 12 season, what do you see as the biggest gap that Houston will have to close talent-wise? Do you see it up front? Where is it?
I do think it starts up front with the size, and then it's going to go to the secondary because that's where they really struggled right now. Mm-hmm. And you got to get those cornerbacks that are built like wide receivers. Those guys. You got to get those guys. But I do think it starts up front. I mean, it really does. Let's face it. You got a big, strong, efficient offensive line. You can do a lot of different things, and you can cover up a lot of work. So I mean, quarterbacks are better, running backs are better. Everything's better whenever you have that offensive line. I think that's probably where it starts. Then on the flip side of that, because it's been a situation in these games where Houston is hung with teams, but it seems like in the second half that's when they get worn down. See Texas Tech, see TCU, and that's no excuse. They just got beat by better football teams on those days. But that's where I think it's going to have to start, and it's going to have to start with a chance to really recruit a Big 12 team for the first time. That starts right now.
Kevin, in your career, which is you've done play-by-play for a long time, was that the craziest moment, or do you have others you can compare it to?
I do, and somebody asked me that earlier, and there was in 2016 in the opener against Oklahoma, Brandon Wilson, who's I think still in the NFL, ran back a kick six for a touchdown, 100. He caught it literally was keeping his feet in on the back line of the end zone, caught it right under the crossbar, and ran it back for a touchdown. That's up there. And then in 2021, Marcus Jones, after SMU scored to tie it with 20 seconds left in the game, they kicked off to Marcus Jones for whatever reason. I still have no idea. And Marcus Jones took it back 100 yards. So those, and then last night, obviously, those are the three. But given the importance of last night, the first ever Big 12 conference win, I would put last night at the top. But yeah, I've been blessed to be around. This is my 11th season of doing University of Houston football. I've been blessed to be around some really good teams and some have an opportunity to be there at the right place at the right time. And yeah, last night was certainly one of those.
I think the Marcus Jones thing is going to keep SMU fans up at night for years.
Well, I went in. It's funny because when we get done, we go over and talk. Sometimes we'll go over and talk to the other radio crew, and I walked into SMU's booth afterwards and just wish him a good, have a good season. Rich Phillips, who does a great play-by-play announcer for SMU, he looks at me and he just goes, 38 seconds. And I said, what? He goes, I didn't speak for 38 seconds. So, we've all gone through it, and it was certainly a wonderful night last night.
Yeah, what do you even say? I mean, sometimes what do you even say?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I know that it's your job to say something, but like if you don't have anything to say, just don't say something.
and I talked about it last night too. I went over to the West Virginia guys. And I wished them a good season, and hope their stay in Houston was good. And not about the game, but and I mean, I just thought about him. And I thought, man, you just went from one of the greatest calls because your team just scored a 50-yard touchdown with 12 seconds left to win a game until you didn't. And it's a swing of emotions. And as play-by-play guys, we all, John, we live and die with these guys. And, we don't ever win and lose games, but we certainly feel it in our heart. And that's the passion you have. If you don't have that passion, you're not doing this job. And so It's an emotional week every week, and I look forward every Saturday morning waking up and getting ready to go do a college football game.
Well, Kevin, thank you so much for joining us. Rest that voice for next week against Texas. You're going to have to talk over a lot of crowd noise. I know that. And we'll see you here in about 3 weeks.
You got it. All right. Looking forward to coming to Waco.
Right. There you go. There you go. Kevin Eschenfelder, voice of the Cougars. I mean,